Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So it's been a long time since I've done a video. I've been traveling and doing this and that. Anyway, I was originally playing Shock Nova, as everybody's aware of. Let me just turn the audio down in game because it's a bit loud and I can't concentrate. Alright, there we go. So anyway, I was doing a Shock Nova Inquisitor, which works really well actually. And there'll be a video for that because it's going to be like 4 or 5 videos on the same template, I guess. However, anyway, I started switching out different skills, in particular ones that I guess brought up in chat the other day, i.e. Divine Ire, and a number of other different skills, which I won't say which ones yet. You'll see the videos as they come out in the next 24 hours to 48 hours. But anyway, I realized that I built like this awesome, ridiculously good template that could be used on the Inquisitor as a low-life variant. And it pretty much works with any skill. Now, a couple of things to note. It's a lot of uniques, so it's not a league starter. It's not going to be a league starter build, right? This isn't a league starter video. This is probably your second build, but realistically, there's nothing in here that isn't unachievable within a reasonable amount of time from the starter league with your first tune. So, first of all, this uses the Nebulous. The reason why we use the Nebulous is because we overcap our cold res up to 85%. If we could push that up, then, you know, even better. And ideally, we want to overcap lightning and cold, but I haven't gotten to that stage yet. And we get really good DPS out of this. Now, at this point, my 20 stage charged up Divine Ire is sitting about 2.2 mil, and that's only with one Sigil of Power because it's very hard to level up Sigil of Power with that. We have like 15% shock because it's a lightning character. And then negative 15% cold res because we're running Frost Orb. So, or Frozen, was it Frozen Bomb? Frost Bomb? Where are you? Bloody hell. Yeah, Anomalous Frost Bomb. So, all those things are legit, and we'll talk through that very quickly soon. But basically how the build works is we use Nebulous, we stack up our cold res, we get 16% up to a cap of 20% per overcapped resistances, so we have like 15 times 16 at this stage. I'm not going to do that math because it's a weekend. Anyway, a lot of percentage increase. And then beyond that, we use double Call of the Brotherhood. Now, you ideally want to get like corrupted Calls of the Brotherhood to up your buffs, like my determination buff and whatnot. This is going to convert about 80% of your damage from lightning to cold, and Divine Ire is 100% lightning. So yeah, it's all lightning, well, physical damage converted into lightning damage, so on and so on. So basically, we stack Divine Ire up using by converting its lightning damage into cold damage, and then we just progressively buff it with crit. Now, the other benefit of using the Inquisitor in this is we have pretty much 100% crit. Where is it? Crit 66, and this scales up on the POB with all buffs up, everything. It hits close to like 100%. So you're getting the benefit of having the the inevitable judgment, which means critical strikes ignore monster elemental resistance. So you're hitting 100% Divine Ire lightning converted to cold, and there's like no resistance against your hits. That being said, there's a few problems with the build, but we'll get into that very shortly. So we use things like Asnath's Gentle Touch, which means we have a technical explodey setup. We do use All's Uprising with the Wrath reservations, so we actually managed to get like 10 auras on this. What's that? 9? Yeah, 10 auras. So we're running Discipline, Purity of Ice, Determination, Defiance Banner, Clarity, Tempest Shield, Wrath, Vitality, and Zealotry. So it's fundamentally a fucking aura stacker. And then beyond that, we're running Aegis Aurora. So obviously we have max block, and we have as much max block as we can get in here. We can't be shocked. Now, the only thing that I haven't mitigated against is freeze. We have negative 60% enemy crit. So we're basically not getting crit pretty much ever. Now, or, you know, a good amount of the time. The only other thing is I haven't really balanced Chaos Res. It's the end of the league, so I'm just sort of playing with different builds. But so far, like as you can see in the B-roll, it can pretty much face tank double Guardians. As it is right now, it could take down Cyrus. Would I want to do that fight with this? No, because it'd be pretty boring. But you'd survive. And yeah, so we only have like 4400 ES, but we could get a way better belt. We could get way better boots, hands down. And you could switch out the gloves and you could get an exploding nebulous with the implicit for explode on the nebulous. And then, yeah, pretty much that's about it. Like, there's no, like, mirror tier items in this build, nothing like that. Psych investments, like, maybe 20, 30x. Tops, like, that's really pushing it. And then in the tree itself, you know, we do use a couple of things like a Thread of Hope setup. We do have a Watcher's Eye with energy shield gained on hit. And the reason why is when we charge up, those little lightning things that you can see there hit enemies, and that regenerates your ES and it hits everything around you. And that's about it. Like, there's nothing crazy in this build. But anyway, I'll get in. We'll pull across the POB and I'll talk through the POB quickly, and then we'll get into the actual breakdown of the different items. All right, as usual, I always like to go into the POB in all my videos and basically talk through to see and vet bullshit. So we have about 2.2 mil at 20 stages. At one stage, we have just shy of 100,000, and at 10 stages, we have 1.1 mil. It's pretty modest DPS. It's not the most you can get. So channeling around you, you do about 405,000 DPS for every little thing that's hitting everything. And then when you release the skill, it kills everything in its wake. So we'll talk about tree later on, but pretty much talking through. So are you always on low life? Yes, pretty clear. We're running a Shavs setup. As you can see, Shavs, low life, 115 health. Bam, that's low life. So do we generate frenzy charges? Yes, I was playing around with this, but we can get, if we take frenzy charges off this, we don't really go down by a huge sum total of DPS, 200,000, and that's okay. But the reason why we can use it is we have Blood Rage. Now, the caveat with Blood Rage is you can only cast it like four times, because we don't have enough health to cast it past that 5 times. So then you get to a point where you're like, oh shit, I can't cast it anymore. So to cast it sparingly. Anyway, we're just fucking around with this build, trying to make it work, and I've made it work so far. All right, so Onslaught, yes, we have Onslaught roll on my boots, so yes, we do have Onslaught. Are we leeching? Yes, we're leeching Energy Shield. This is based on the node that we have up here for Essence Rush, so yes, we're leeching. Do we have a Flask active? We've always got Flask active. We got Piano Key Flask that are set to trigger when they max out in charges. Are we on Consecrated Ground? Yep, we're an Inquisitor, so yep. Have you crit recently? Got nearly 100% crit here, so I would say we've crit recently. Have we killed recently? Yeah, we're pretty much going to kill recently, but it doesn't affect damage anyway. Block recently? Yeah, we're always blocking. If I don't block, then my crit chance goes up to 100%, and that's based on this Precise Retaliation node that we've got in here. And then basically we come in, Infusion, yes, we have Infused Channeling built into the skill, so as we're channeling, and Divine Aura's channeling skill, we are developing an Infusion. Sigil of Power, yeah, this will affect it by 200k. Like, I could, you know, inflate this and say, oh, this is a 2.8 million DPS build, but I'm not going to do that because that's just misleading, and you're realistically not going to be able to channel enough mana to get beyond that. But you drop it on a boss and just go kapow and kill everything. Alright, so is the enemy cursed? Yes, we double curse, so yes. Is the enemy moving? Doesn't really make a difference. Doesn't really make a difference if we curse the enemy. Is the enemy chilled? Yes, the enemy's chilled because we do cold conversion and we're not running elemental damage or whatever the hell it's called. We do chill. Now, is the enemy shocked? Arguably, yes, we're using lightning skills that shock. I've accounted for like 15% shock. It could be like 10%. Whatever it is, it's not going to significantly hinder the build. So 15% is a good estimate. Are we on Consecrated Ground? Yes, we're on Consecrated Ground. Cyrus damage, because, you know, it'd be bullshit if we didn't, and we'll just put Awaken a 9, which has no effect. And negative 15 cold res. And the reason why we have negative 15 cold res is because we're using Frostbomb. And Frostbomb applies negative 15% cold res to enemies because they're applied, have exposure applied to them. So that's pretty much the tree. As you can see, no real bullshit. It's hitting for what it's hitting. If we're on full energy shield, just drops mana cost. If we're on low energy shield, that fucks up our armor, and we don't want to touch that. And usually we're not on low energy shield because this build's pretty good at keeping above the reservation there. Anyway, that's basically the configuration of the tree, so we'll jump into the actual gearing. Okay, so gearing-wise, let's talk through this. So, first of all, Crown of the Inward Eye, really simple. We're running a Zealotry enchant to get the res down because we're stacking 10 auras, and we actually use that to add damage. I think we get about 80% increased damage. I'll talk about that soon. You need that on this. We're running Aegis Aurora, pretty much no-brainer. Best block shield in the game. Yeah, you can get it for pretty cheap at the moment too. And I haven't got Awaken POB trade open. All's Uprising, you can pretty much farm this out of Delve if you're delving, and this actual build will be in the Will It Delve series that I'm looking at. Yeah, so pretty much really good amulet, what can I say? It also does hits against enemies, have 50% increased crit chance, so you're pretty much critting all the time, which is one of the best amulets in the game, I'd say. We're running a Shav's wrapping, 6 links, so we're running 5 blue sockets, 1 red. We'll talk about the gems very shortly. We're running a Nebulous, not a replica Nebulous, normal Nebulous, and basically how this works in the build is increased cast speed as well as the overcapped resistances above 75% for cold. Now, if we could get lightning above, then definitely we'd do that. And potentially there's a way you could run this life-based and run a Doriani's prototype as well. That'd also be something worth looking at. That'd actually make this build even better, potentially. And can then convert all that lightning to cold. But anyway, that's pretty much what we're doing there. Double Call of Brotherhoods. Now, if you can get corruption rolls on them, great. If not, doesn't really matter. About 80% mana regen and lightning damage. The best part about them, though, is the 40% lightning damage conversion, which will basically wreck anyone. And your spells have a 100% chance to shock against frozen enemies. So you're pretty much always shocking enemies at the same time as you're chilling them. And because we do cold conversion, which are always chilling them. So yeah, really good setup. And then in the gloves department, we're running Asenath's Gentle Touch. So we're always applying temporal chains, and we actually apply hinder to enemies, and I'll explain that soon too. And then you also have enemies killed near corpses explode, dealing 3% of the life as physical damage. So big sort of advantage, which is where you see all that sand stuff flying around as I kill shit with this build. It's explodey chest without explodey chest. Now you can get the implicit on the Nebulous. If you can, you don't need these gloves. You can use something else. But it's really expensive to get that on a Nebulous. So Asenath's Gentle Touch it is, unless you can run an explodey chest, but then that's a problem because you can't do that either, because Shav's has... It's so Chaos can't bypass Energy Shield. Yeah. Anyway, and then we're running just a really decent belt. Like, this is not even a good belt. I want a crystal belt, and I'm going to do that crafting video finally with this to put a really good belt on this. But fire, cold res, and a lot of energy shield, and armor. You don't really need strength. And then we've got our boots, which are pretty much just all resist as much as we can. A lot of ES, the implicits for extra armor as well. Pretty much anything that we could get onto the build that it was lacking, we got on the boots. Now, flask-wise, every flask has used when charges reach full, and because we're a max block, we want 4 charges at least when you're struck by an enemy. And then I've got increased armor, critical strike chance, movement speed, and then a bottled faith, because why not? Bottled faith is pretty much the best flask in the game, and it's dirt cheap right now. That's pretty much it for gearing on this character. Really simple. Nothing crazy here. Like, you can see an Awakened Spell Echo. That's for another video. And as you can see, we've got Divergent Shock, Nova, Phantasmal Lightning Tendrils, and Crackling Lance as well. We'll get into that one next, because Crackling Lance is really good on this template. Anyway, I'm getting too excited. That's our gearing, and yeah. We'll move on to the gem setups. Alright, gem setup. So, Inner Helm, running Divergent Purity of Ice. We're also running Sigil of Power. Doesn't really matter about having this one leveled up to max. I'm just leveling this one up natively because I'm a little lazy and I don't want to blow any more currency on that sort of stuff. Tempest Shield, because we're running max block. Molten Shell, and we're just going to have that set to self-cast as we run around. So no casting damage taken required. In the shield, we've got discipline, arrogance, and clarity. And the reason why we've got an arrogance setup is because we're running a low life setup, but we're not running a Prism Guardian. So this gets around that very, very efficiently and starts reserving health. Then in our Nebulous, we've got Flame Dash, we've got Mark on Hit, and Assassin's Mark. So we do Assassin's Mark damage on this build. And basically, when we hit an enemy, we cast, we apply that cast on the enemy, and then they die quicker. Because it gives you increased crit multi by about 50% crit multiplier. And you also, doesn't really matter for health. But this is also why, you could run Blood Rage in a map, because you generate that health back when the enemy dies, and then you can cast it again. Go figure. Then in our chests we're running Divergent Divine Ire. And the reason why, I'm pretty sure, 20% of physical damage is converted to cold damage. So it's just more cold damage conversion. I think the damage goes up by 50,000 or 20-something thousand. We'll just have a look here. So we would lose 121,000 damage if we didn't have Divergent. Divergent Divine Ire. Increased critical damage support. Awaken added lightning, level 5. This gives you +1 to the gem level as well. Infused channeling support. Actually, if we did increase that. Interesting. Infused channeling support. Increased critical strike support and inspiration support. We don't even have this at level 20 because I'm lazy. And then in our gloves, we've got Determination, Wrath, Anomalous Frost Bomb, and we've got Zealotry. You could, if you didn't want to run Anomalous Frost Bomb and you just want to be real lazy, you could chuck an Enlighten in there and reserve less mana, but it doesn't really make any difference. It's all good. And then we've got Defiance Banner with Arrogance. As you can see, this isn't a 4-link. It's a 2 and 2. So Defiance Banner with Arrogance. So we reserve Defiance Banner against Health Pool, and then Blood Rage and Vitality, because we've got enough to run level 10. Level 10 Vitality, level 11 Vitality. And that just gives us more regeneration. So we have Energy Shield at 514 ES regeneration, and then that goes up, obviously, as we do stuff. And that's pretty much it for the gem setup. So not crazy. And anyway, let's get into the tree and talk through that. All right, so fun stuff, tree. So pretty much we start obviously at the Templar here, because honestly Inquisitor is my favorite class because we can do shit like this. And then we run up, we grab Sanctity, we get Glancing Blows straight away, Sanctuary, and we want all of these nodes because we need the block. So we can get to that sweet max block stage where we don't give a fuck about anything. And then we get Shield Mastery, 1% of critical, 1% to critical strike per 10 maximum energy shield. And the reason why is because Prism Guard, Aegis Aurora, has got Energy Shield. So go figure, works really well. And then we come across, we pick up the Dual Socket node here, and we want to run a medium thread of hope. Then what we'll do with that is we'll grab Divine Judgment and we'll grab Sanctum of Thought. So this is going to reduce the critical strike damage you take from hits. And then we also want to grab Divine Shield, obviously for the damage mitigation as well. Then we come up, we grab Faith and Steel, we grab Armor Mastery, and we want that defend with 120% armor while not on low energy shield. So we're not on low energy shield. So we get 120% armor, which is great. And then we come up, we grab the Sovereignty node, and we want to grab 15% mana reservation efficiency to all skills. Then we come up, we grab Arcane Potency, 25% multiplier against unique enemies. Then we come up and we grab Zealot's Oath because it's dope. Then we grab Arcane Guarding, and this is going to buff up our shield, so we have a bit of block recovery and then everything else in between that makes it good. Then we want to grab some Dexterity. Then we come down to Insightfulness. Now, and here you can also grab Regenerate 2% of Energy Shield per second. That's going to give you more survivability, which is the next node that I'm going to be tackling. Then we come down, we pretty much, so all our standard jewels that we put in this build are pretty much just all Cold Strike, Crit Strike Multi, Energy Shield, and Attributes or Resistances. So we come all the way down, we're going to grab Energy Shield Mastery, we want the 25% Mana Reservation Efficiency because we're stacking auras like a madman. Then we come down, we grab Leadership because we need the node here, and 30% Life Reservation Efficiency because we are running low life. So then we come up, we run another dual socket here. This one was pretty expensive. I think it was like 1x when I bought it. Because it's like, what's that? 29% crit multi, so it's pretty good. And then we grab Pain Attunement because we're on low life, obviously low life. Nimbleness, and then we want spells which gain intensity, gain 1 more intensity. Now, we could actually repurpose this node out. I haven't done this, so you don't actually need this. What you could switch this out for, which is going to make this build better, is 1% spell damage per 16 intelligence, because we have about 419 int. And if we change that out, sorry, because I switch between so many different variations of this build. Yeah, so we go up by another 178,000 DPS. So more DPS, even better. And then we come up, we grab Throat Seeker, some more dexterity here. Now, if you want to grab something in here, you could. You really don't need to, though. There's nothing in here that you really need. Unless you grab the 30% reduced crit damage from crit strikes. That's also one thing you grab. We'll get to the clusters very shortly. Then we come across, we grab Influence, and we want to grab 8% increased damage for each of your aura skills or heralds affecting you. The reason why we're running this is we're running 10 auras times 8%. That equals 80%. Basic math. So that's a big damage buff. So basically aura stacker. And then we come down, we grab Critical Mastery, Doomcast, and we'll grab our 30% reduced crit. And then we also want to grab Arcane Sanctuary up here. And this is going to give you 25% elemental avoidance and stun avoidance. Now, because we're running our Asenath's Gentle Touch, and we're also running an Assassin's Mark, a Mark and a Curse fundamentally get treated under the same treated in the same bucket. So you can either have one or the other, but you can't have both unless you allow for it. So I've actually got Whispers of Doom in this build. And this is basically because I want a multi-curse. So then I can use Curse Mastery. Enemies you curse are hindered with 15% reduced movement, which is really good for this build because we need a little bit of time to juice up our cast. Now we come back up to our cluster jewels here. So pretty much I've got a triple with Burden Projection, Essence Rush, and Practice Caster. Now, you don't need this. I actually like this because it gives me a lot of cast speed as well as the sort of flexibility with, avoidance, interruption, reduction, things like that. But you could grab anything with like cold damage or any sort of conversion damage or anything like that. Entirely up to you what you want to do with this. Now I do have a Watcher's Eye with energy shield gained on hit while you have discipline. A little bit expensive, but totally worth it. Makes it more survivable, so my eyes playing up today. And then I've got Precise Retaliation and Quick Getaway, and then just another jewel with crit multi and whatnot in it. And that's about it. That's the whole build. And then if we look at the Ascendancy, so we're pretty much the same as always with Inquisitor. We go Sanctuary, then Pious Path, then we go Righteous Providence, and we go Inevitable Judgment. And that's basically perfect for, pardon me, every time I do a video, my nose plays up. That's perfect for crit-based builds, exactly like this one. But yeah, that's it for the tree. And this tree will be in the POB, by the way, so you can use this. I'll have it touched up slightly for final sort of level 92s, and this is a level 90 character, and it's doing this sort of shit, so it's a pretty good build so far. It's not like a crazy-ass, hectic-ass build, but it's a lot of fun if you're a newer player, and or if you want to play something a little different. It can definitely go way, way further than this point, but it's how high is the sky sort of situation. Alright, and here's the most interesting thing. I've not done any of the Pantheon. So you can do whatever you want with this. I would suggest Soul Lunaris and Soul of Aberoth. But yeah, you could do Soul of Tukahama. You could do Soul of Arakali. That'll do with Chaos Res over time. Yeah, but I always think Soul Lunaris gives you the best sort of stopping power when it comes to tanking a lot of shit. But yeah, anyway, up to you what you want to do with the Pantheon. Alright, so I hope this sort of helped with giving you a bit of build variety. Alois, I'm looking at you, buddy, because you were like, oh, I want to play Divine Ire in the stream. Well, this is a starting base to playing Divine Ire, because there's actually nobody playing Divine Ire. I'll put a little screenshot on the thing where I looked that up. Now, if you guys want to know the next few videos that are coming up, well, I'll give you a sneak peek. I did have a play with this build a fair bit, and it can do a few different things. So what we'll switch out here. This is Crackling Lance, just as a preview. So this gets like up to like 5 mil DPS as it is right now, and absolutely slaps on this template. Anyway, we got a couple of other things like this too, and also this. Anyway, until the next video, and there's going to be maybe 3 or 4 videos that come out this weekend using this template. Have a good one, and bye.